Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is Marcus with Lotus Kendamas. Today we're going to be covering the Spacewalk. This is a pretty good trick to start out with if you're just starting your string journey. I think this is one of the first spacewalking string moves I ever learned. Like so many string tricks, it's really nice to have a shorter string. I personally started out that way. That helped me a ton when getting comfortable with a lot of these string moves. I'm rocking right now 3 to 4 finger string length, and you can adjust your length to whatever feels comfortable. I start with the Ken in my right hand, facing down like this, sort of Sarah grip style, but not completely. I'm mainly holding on to the bottom part of the Ken. What I'm doing is swinging the tama to my right, kind of have it like back on the back side of me like so. I set it into motion, and once the tama gets to around here, I release. I release and I focus on catching the tama. So you throw Ken and you catch tama. There's 2 ways of catching the tama in the spacewalk. Once it's been released, you can either catch it on the outside or you can catch it on the inside like so. It might be hard to tell the difference from that in the beginning, but I would really recommend, and specifically for this tutorial, I'm gonna teach you how to catch the tama on the inside. The reason for this is I find it easier to flow into other tricks from there, and after having practiced it a bunch, I find it a little bit easier to catching the tama this way as well. Once you set the spacewalk into motion, the tama is gonna be doing pretty much a full 360 turn around. Once it has made its way right about where my right leg is standing right now, you try to catch the tama. But instead of catching on the outside like so, what I'm trying to do is catch on the inside over here and then make the Ken complete its rotation on the back side of my hand. A common issue people are having when trying to learn this trick is maybe not understanding where in the space in front of you the spacewalk itself is actually taking place. A lot of times people throw it really high and they have to go up here and grab it somewhere. And if that's working for you in the beginning, go ahead and do so. I would recommend trying to keep the circular motion happening like below your face. I like to have it happen right in front of me, but a little further down. I personally find it easier to control instead of having to trap the tama somewhere above your head. Since this is a very preliminary string trick, make sure you keep everything really clean. What you don't want to do is mess up the release on the Ken, because what can happen, it'll start spinning like so. It'll make it look sketchy, way less clean, and it will mess up the flow of the trick. There's 2 different ways of holding the Ken when initiating the spacewalk. Some of the OG Chrome players used to hold it like this, so it's actually Ken grip, but facing down like so. That has a lot of steez to it. I like also doing it like this, where it's kind of like an upside down pencil grip, if you will. It's really preference, both work, both are steezy in their own way. I would definitely have to give a shout out to minimilstic, just the way he goes into a spacewalk, he does it with so much steez. When catching the tama, the cleanest way is just to go for that straight snack out of the middle of the air. What you can do is once you're about to grab, before the tama lands in your hand, the string is gonna be like this. You can have the back side of your hand or where the pinky is, kind of feel out the string and let it like flow from the string into your palm. That's a good way of guiding your way to having the tama in your hand. When catching the tama, make sure you have your palm facing down and grabbing onto the tama like so, instead of having your palm facing up. The spacewalk is a really good way to get your entire spacewalk line started. The cool thing about it is once you get here, there's so many ways of continuing forward. A thing I like to do a lot in my flow is going straight from here into a tornado hand roll, into a regular hand roll. You can also, once grabbing the tama, make that Ken come all the way around and you can try and airplane it. That's the most classic way, I'd say, of spiking your spacewalk. The possibilities are really endless from here. You can try and swap spike it too. And that is why it is such an important fundamental when spacewalking. This trick is a good initiator of your spacewalk, as well as a really cool way of ending your string trick. Let's say you were to go from a tornado hand roll, you continue around to the spacewalk and then finish your spacewalk in that kind of way. Problem I had when learning this trick was not understanding when to actually grab onto the tama. What can oftentimes happen is that you don't let the tama complete its full rotation. Sometimes the ken is gonna be up here. You try and snag that tama out of the air and it will just kind of fall to the ground like so in a really sketchy way. You wanna make sure once that tama is in your hand that you allow for the ken to rotate completely around. You allow the ken to finish its rotation, to keep it clean and to keep it flowy. Because if that string tension stops being there, it'll look really sloppy. As I do grab the tama at the point when the ken has almost completed the rotation all the way back to here where it started. I highly, highly recommend, when doing this trick in particular, to have a setup where the ken and the tama are a very similar weight, just to make sure that it flows around nicely and the weight is evenly distributed when spinning around like so. If the tama is too heavy, you can risk it being really sketchy, that the tama comes around too fast and the ken can't really keep up, and that will oftentimes result in a really sketchy spacewalk. So the important points for learning this trick: having a weighted setup, making sure you practice over a surface that won't mess up your kendama too much if you drop it, some grass, yoga mat, something like that. And be comfortable with knowing that you're probably gonna fail a lot with this trick. You're probably gonna be dropping a lot at first. That's okay, that's how you learn. And yeah, remember to have fun with it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Let us know in the comments what your difficulties when learning this trick are, and we'll try to help you out as much as we can. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let us know what you want us to do a tutorial for next.